expressing frustration over the way things are being handled. Are you satisfied that the consultations are where they should be? I know they've been calling for greater consultations so that everyone can be happy. What's your take on the whole issue?
Well, I want to concur with the Prime Minister and his comments. Certainly, it's not just the taxi drivers, it's not just Heritage Key, it's not just Redcliffe Key, it's the whole of Lower St. John's. St. John's Development Corporation have a responsibility for Lower St. John's as well. And in getting a consultant to come in, or a group of consultants to come in and telling us, this is how you can solve the problem. During those consultations, the consultant spoke with them, spoke with the Merchants Association, spoke with owners of businesses and all the relevant parties. And they have presented us now with a plan that is very feasible. There's some short-term things that we can do. Now, if we continue to consult and consult, when will we ever do anything? Now, we have paid somebody to come in. The Cabinet has looked at it. St. John's Development Corporation have endorsed it. The Cabinet has endorsed it. How much longer must we wait? So, while we will listen, and I have encouraged St. John's Development to continue to listen to all parties, not just taxis, but also vendors, merchants, persons who have stores in town, the average Antiguan and Barbudan. We have to consult with everybody. But at some point, a decision has to be made which will be to the benefit of all Antiguans. So, this new plan, we hope that we're confident will help everyone. The taxi drivers, we encourage them to come on board. They have seen it. They have not provided us with an alternative that would make this plan not work. So I think it's time that we move forward. I think the Cabinet is very strong in terms of, listen, we are where we are, we have to take action. The cruise industry now, as the Prime Minister said, it might be a little bit more than 45%, but it's not much more, maybe 50-55% of the people who actually come to Antigua. And I want to say this. The cruise lines have decided not to send as many boats into the Caribbean as they did last year. Not just to Antigua, into the Caribbean. So we have a reduction in the number of boats that come to Antigua. But look at this. If we can increase the number of people who actually come off the cruise lines, even with the reduction in boats, we will have more people actually visit St. John's and Lower St. John's and Antigua in general. So we must take the action to ensure that we continue to compete fairly and positively in this cruise ship industry. So our short-term plan, as was highlighted by Mr. Sylvester Brown, the chairman of St. John's Development, is that we're looking at moving the Ministry of Health building, moving Wapping Beach, and creating some areas for taxis and tours to depart from. And then once that is done, the consultants have been asked to give us a phase 2 and a phase 3, which we can implement soonest. Because if we continue to allow what's going on to go on, we're going to lose those other boats. Antigua has when we did the fitness test, which we'll make available to the press, we have some very strong points, our tours, our sites, our history, things like that are very strong. But if the people refuse to come off the boat, those things don't matter. So we have to take the action. I think the time is now. The Prime Minister is adamant that we continue, and I want to thank him for his support. I have been asking for this now for some time, but I think the Cabinet and the Prime Minister and St. John's Development and all of us understand the importance of taking action now. So I want to encourage the Taxi Association and all our partners in this to come on board with us, and let's get it done. All of us will benefit. When I say all of us, everybody in Antigua will benefit. If we can move the congestion of the taxis and tours out of St. John's during the day, it then allows other people to come into St. John's. Our stayover tours. We have 250,000 people who come to Antigua as stayover passengers. How many of them actually going to St. John's? It's such a hassle that they don't. So it will provide opportunities for hotel taxis then to bring persons into St. John's and create more business for everybody. So again, I want to appeal to our taxis. Please come on board. We've spoken about this. They had some concern about Heritage Key regulations and the enforcement of what they call the rogue taxi drivers. Yes, we will. We have to deal with that.
Just to ask you, you mentioned removing the congestion from St. John's. What's your take on the parking lot? How important is this in West Cabinet?
It has to be done. If we can get the taxis off of High Street, St. Mary Street, Long Street, Redcliffe Street, and put them in an area where they have easier access in and out. It can be more easily transition for people on tours and taxis down through Newgate Street and Long Street, and they have access to parking so they don't have to stage around St. John's. It will create a better opportunity for them. Now, their concern is about the rogue taxi drivers, and I agree with them. And I'm going to ask the police that I've signed the Heritage Key regulations, so they have enforcement authority now, and take care of those issues. So while the taxi drivers have their concerns and we agree with them, we are appealing to the police to come forward and enforce the regulations, also St. John's development.